little agree, and we are live. At least it says we are. So, welcomes, greetings, and salutations to everybody. I just got to check on the YouTube end.
That's what I'm about to do. I'm about to join on YouTube.
Yeah, but we are starting in Proverbs 18, King James Version. Pull up your Bibles, make sure you're there. We'll have it on the screen, but you got to make sure you're doing it yourself. So, yeah. I'm trying to finish my thing here. I'm trying to say stuff.
I'm sorry.
Meet Ryan over here. I don't see us live. Hold on.
I see us.
You do? You do?
Yeah, I see us on YouTube.
I don't. I refreshed the page. I don't see us.
I see you talking right there. You want me to show you? Looky there.
I believe it. I believe it. I don't know. I don't know why it's not popping up on my end. I got it saying we're live, but then on the other side, I don't see us saying anything about being live. So, either way, Ryan, do you want to do the recap for Proverbs 15 through 17, which is what we read last time?
Yes, we did 15 through 17. We talked about some of the passages, talked about, a wise man receives reproof. It's foolish people think they know everything and they don't want to listen to any kind of correction. But a wise man is willing to admit he doesn't know everything, because guess what? Nobody knows everything. There are people that are knowledgeable in one area and they're just completely ignorant in other areas. And that's why we all need each other to, if one is weak in one area, someone else is strong in that same area, and vice versa. They might be. It says the sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but the prayer of the upright is his delight. That's another, I'm thinking if you're wicked, there's no point. I mean, God isn't going to receive your sacrifice because he knows your heart, lips of the wise disperse knowledge. I know that pride is really big in Proverbs in being condemned, because that's probably the worst thing. That it was pride that caused Lucifer to fall and rebel. It was pride. He thought he was so good. And so many people, and Jim talks about this when he's doing the street ministry, people think, I don't need a savior because I'm a good person already. And guess what? You're not. That's pride. You're not a good person already. And talks about being slothful on the edge of thorns. And the verse that it talks about a foolish son. Let me see where that is, what verse that is. But it's a foolish son is, I'm trying to look for that verse. Oh, I think it's in 17.
I know the general saying goes, foolish son brings like dishonor.
Yeah, he's
a wise son is like the crown.
And bitterness to her that bear him. So many parents, they raised their kids the best they knew how in a Christian home, and then the child still rebels, and it grieves the parents when that happened.
You've done your research. You have either completely reread the chapter before we started the show, or remembered from last week.
I'm just picking bits. Well, thank you, Jeremiah. I'm just my favorite verse here in this passage. One of a friend loveth at all times, and a father is born for adversity. A brother is born for adversity. And I like that because a true friend is going to be there. They're going to stick with you. And it says a brother is born for adversity. They're going to be with you through the hard times and the easy times and the hard times, the good times and the bad times. That's a true friend. You hear so many testimonies of people, oh, I thought I had so many friends. I had all these, I was the life of the party. Everybody loved me. And then I got in trouble. And they all scattered like rats. They were all gone. Christopher Yuan, his testimony talks about that. All of these, I was so popular, and then I got arrested, and then they all ran away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to summarize the entire book of Proverbs so far, because Proverbs, if anything, keeps summarizing itself. It keeps expressing itself.
Yes.
And so essentially, it says, here's what you do if you're wise. Love correction. Listen to those who have lived before you. Stay away from evildoers of iniquity. God hates those of the evildoer. And that's like the essentials of the entire thing. is constantly try to learn, constantly love correction, build your own place, stay focused on God.
Yes.
So that's essentially all of Proverbs right there so far. And I know it's a mass simplification, but Ryan already took all of the important stuff. So
Hey, I'm glad I impressed you, Jeremiah.
with that said, we want to go to chapter 18.
Yep, chapter 18. I've got it open here.
Am I reading or are you?
It's up to you. What do you want to do?
I'm going to start.
Okay.
Who desire of a man, having separated himself, seeketh an intermediate. Wait, what is that word?
Intermeddleth.
Huh?
Intermeddleth.
Intermeddleth. I've not read that word before. Forgive me.
Are we going to do the words on the screen, or are you just going to read out of your Bible? Because last week you said you wanted to see.
Have you seen the words on the screen? They're right here. Right here. You see it?
Well, I know, but you remember what you said last week?
What did I say last week?
You said, let's just, I'd rather watch you read it, or I'd rather watch your beautiful face. And people.
Well, right now I'm reading it, so I'm watching my own beautiful face on camera while I'm reading.
Okay.
When it's you, I'll probably switch it off, or you'll have
do it your way then. You do it whatever you want, Jeremiah.
Okay, let me start over. Through desire a man, having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. A fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself. Man, so I get a lot right there. So what you see right here is, you ever heard the phrase, in my opinion, follow your heart?
Oh, yes.
He does not seek understanding, he seeks to follow his heart.
Yes.
When the wicked cometh, then cometh also contempt, and with ignominy reproach. The words of a man's mouth are as deep waters, and the well springs of wisdom as a flowing brook. It is not good to accept the person of the wicked, to overthrow the righteous in judgment. A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. Again, I've been to so many different groups, different ministries, different businesses, where there's always this contention, this tension where people are constantly ready to fight. You got to wonder how many fools are working for that guy. The words of the telebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost part of the belly. He also that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waste. So those who are lazy in their work is a brother, or like the one who is, a waste, a great waste. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. The rich man's wealth is his strong city, and as an high wall in his countenance. Before destruction, the heat of a man is haughty, and before honor is humility. Yeah, I want to point out with the other part where you see the righteous run into the tower. Righteous love God. The wise love God. If somebody hates God, they are a fool.
Absolutely. The fool that said in his heart, there is no God. Absolutely.
Let me pull it back up again. Okay. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him. You ever started fighting back on an argument before you even listened to the other person's side?
Yes.
I feel like we all have at some point in our lives.
We all have. Everyone's guilty of that.
But yeah, like there are times when you snap back and you start arguing and you don't even know what you're arguing. You think they mean one thing, but they don't. Same thing with answering somebody. If you say yes or no before you even get to hear what they've said,
oh yeah,
it's fun. It's shame. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear? The heart of the prudent getteth knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeketh knowledge. A man's gift maketh room for him, and bringeth him before great men. He that is first is his own cause seemeth just, but his neighbor cometh and search him. The lot causeth contention to cease, and parteth between the mighty. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city. Now, I will say that's true. If you
Yes.
become against somebody, if your team member is offended to the
Yeah.
point where they're angry and mad at you, it is harder to convince them to your side than taking over a city by force. There are so many times when you're in an argument with somebody and they just got it so convinced in their mind that you are wrong that you will never convince them that you are right, even if you have all the evidence. It would be easier to fight 10 men all at once
Yeah.
than a hardened city, that city with strong walls.
And that goes back to pride. People with pride, they don't want to admit they're wrong, even when they're very clearly wrong. We see that with people who cling to evolution, uh, molecules to man evolution. They will not let go of it, no matter how foolish you show them to be for believing it. They just will not stop. Okay, were you on 21, Jeremiah? I'm sorry.
Let me see.
Or 20.
Okay.
20.
A man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled. Death and life are in the power of the tongue,
Yes.
and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing. So before we go to the wife part, I want to point out, it says death and life are held in the tongue.
Yes.
If you speak death over somebody, they can hurt themselves really bad. They can kill themselves. They say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Whoever said that was
wrong. Idiot. That truly is wrong.
The right words will kill you.
Words can hurt worse than sticks and stones sometimes. And that's why always think before you speak, people. Because once it comes out of your mouth, it can't go back in again. And people who just say whatever pops into their head without having any kind of filter. Because, I know people that don't have filters. As soon as it comes in here, it goes out there without any consideration. How's this person going to feel by me saying this? How is me saying this going to make other people feel?
Yeah.
And it's very important that something comes in here. Okay, how shall I word this? How shall I word this in such a way that it does not hurt this person's feelings? It's very important to do that. I know people that don't do that. I know somebody very close to me that doesn't do that, but I won't mention names. It's not you.
Okay, verse 22. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and get this, and obtaineth favor of the Lord. The poor useth entreaties, but the rich answereth roughly. So I guess what it's saying, if I had to guess what entreaties is, it'd be like nice, gentle, flowery things, or answer roughly, because I imagine they're opposites. The rich answers roughly. I shouldn't say I can say this from experience, but from thinking about it often and a lot, I've always said, if I'm rich, I wouldn't care what people think of me. I'd just say whatever I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
If you are rich in yourself, if you know where you stand with God, so you understand, how you're saved and everything, or if you're rich in wealth as well, notice that those people, they answer brutally, they answer roughly, they give you the truth, they tell you what is. The rich in wisdom also. A man that hath friends must shew himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother.
Yeah, that's a good verse. That really is. You hear people say, I don't have any friends. And, well, are you friendly? Do you
Yeah.
reach out to other people? Do you try to make other people feel good about themselves? Do you compliment them? Do you let them know that they matter and that they're valuable? Do you let I mean, I was just up there with you there in your area, Jeremiah, and I had to go to a wedding of a dear friend of mine, and I would have never thought that I could be friends with someone like that. But I showed myself friendly. You were with me the day that I first met that family in person, Jeremiah, and they were so kind and they were so welcoming. And for me to be invited to his wedding was a great honor to me.
Yeah, so many people look at the other side and they say, a brother, a true friend sticks closer than a brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you look at the beginning, it tells you what's wrong with you if you don't have any friends. It's funny how simple it is. You don't have any friends? Show yourself friendly.
It's really,
What yourself as being friendly then?
it's really that simple.
My own wife, she does not show herself friendly. And then she comes to me and says, I don't have any friends. And I'm like, go out there, show yourself, be a friend to somebody and you will have friends. And she just doesn't seem to get it.
Well, without getting too personal, people put up, well, of course, that same family I just talked about, they have this song called Building Walls, where it says, we build walls 6 feet high, where the pain can't get inside. I think that's how it goes. But basically, the point of it is people build walls, and those walls keep friends out. And we think that they're protecting us, but they're really hurting us. They're keeping us from being close to other people. And, if I may, when I first met your wife, Jeremiah, she was a bit standoffish, and that's understandable. She didn't know me. She didn't know what my intentions were. And she had been hurt in the past. And so she did have those walls, but thankfully they're not there anymore with me. And
we're not going to mention her too much.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to talk about her too much.
She just has an interesting situation when it comes to making
I hope one day that she will be comfortable giving her testimony on our channel. I really would love to hear that.
She kind of did, I thought, or in the beginning.
The very beginning she did. The very first episode, but you remember how I kind of did, and Tim kind of did, and you kind of, and then we eventually did special nights where we just gave our testimony on, and so I'd like her to, if she feels led.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Do you want to read chapter 19?
I will. Better is the poor that walketh in his integrity than he that is perverse in his lips and is a fool. Also, that the soul be without knowledge, it is not good, and he that hasteth with his feet sinneth. The foolishness of man perverteth his way, and his heart fretteth against the Lord. Wealth maketh many friends, but the poor is separated from his neighbor. A false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall not escape. Many will entreat the favor of the prince, and every man is a friend to him that giveth gifts. All the brethren of the poor do hate him. How much more do his friends go far from him? He pursueth them with words, yet they are wanting to him. And just stop me if you see something that jumps out at you, Jeremiah. He that getteth wisdom loveth his own soul. He that keepeth understanding shall find good. A false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall perish. Now, isn't that interesting? We talk about how Proverbs repeats itself. We just read that in verse 5, only slightly different wording. That means that Solomon wanted us to, hey, I'm going to say it again. Make sure you get it.
About the liars. We got to remember, it says the Lord hates these things, and he mentions liars twice. And he tells you, hey, people who lie will get what's coming to them. They will get punished. It will come back to them. And even right here it says, and he that speaketh lies shall perish. perish. That's an interesting word to use.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so many uh, people we can think of that were living lives of lies. Christian leaders have been brought down because their life was a lie, and God showed a light on the lie that they were living. And it's and like this goes back to what I said in the past. Don't live a double life. Be 100% committed to the Lord 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I'm not saying, okay, you're going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. But the will of your heart needs to be towards pleasing God and not yourself. Because I'm telling you, that might not make sense, but it's true. I'm happier now that I live for God than I was living for me. I'm much happier. Um, Delight is not seemly for a fool, much less for a servant to have rule over princes. The discretion of a man deferreth his anger, and it is his glory to pass over a transgression. The king's wrath is as the roaring of a lion, but his favor is as dew upon the grass. A foolish son is the calamity of his father, and the contentions of a wife are a continual dropping. House and riches are the inheritance of fathers, and a prudent wife is from the Lord. Slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger.
I find it interesting. So it says a prudent wife is of the Lord. Where is that exactly?
Da, 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 da.
Is it
That's verse 14.
14? Yeah. So a prudent wife is from the Lord. If you want to find a wise woman, if you want to find someone who will be diligent and who would be a great wife, you have to look for somebody who's close to God.
Excuse me.
It says a prudent wife is from the Lord. Anytime you have a prudent wife, you have to go to the Lord. He's going to go and get a drink. You didn't need to be so distracting. Okay. Well, so the general thing I was thinking of before he interrupted with the whole drink thing is whenever you're looking for a woman, you have to go to the source. The source here, it says prudent women are from the Lord. You have to go to God. You have to find a woman who seeks God. You have to find somebody who trusts in the Lord with everything they have. Verse 15. Ryan, you want to pick back up?
Yeah, and I did that for a practical reason. I found myself getting close to coughing while I was reading. I need to keep my...
You're fine.
Uh-huh. Okay. So we're on verse 15. Slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger. He that keepeth the commandment keepeth his own soul, but he that despiseth his ways shall die. He that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he hath given will he pay him again. Chasten thy son while there is hope, and let not thy soul spare for his crying. A man of great wealth shall suffer punishment, for if thou deliver him, yet thou must do it again. Hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in thy latter end. You see that there? Hear counsel and receive instruction. There's nobody on the planet knows everything, but there are plenty of people who think they know everything. Those are the people that the Bible considers to be foolish. There are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand. The desire of a man is his kindness, and a poor man is better than a liar. The fear of the Lord tendeth to life, and he that
Hold on. Verse 22. The desire of a man is his kindness, and a poor man is better than a liar. So let's look on that first part. The desire of a man is his kindness. I got like this thing formulating in my brain, and I'm trying to put it out there. So essentially what it's saying is whatever your desires are, that connects to what your kindness is. So if you seek the kingdom of heaven first, you're more likely to be kind than if you seek making money first.
Yes, because it does say a poor man is better than a liar. A lot of people get rich through lies. That's how they make their money. And
that does actually connect very well because what verse was it again?
22.
The desires, 22. And a poor man is better than a liar. So it's saying if your desire, is to seek heaven and you get poor because of it, it was better than to seek money and to lack kindness. Because there is no kindness at the root of money.
Right.
There's kindness at the root of following God. The fruit of the Spirit, one of them is kindness.
Yes. Very, very true.
Continue.
The fear of the Lord tendeth to life, and he that hath it shall abide satisfied. He shall not be visited with evil. A slothful man hideth his hand in his bosom, and will not so much as bring it to his mouth again. Smite a scorner, and the simple will beware, and reprove one that hath understanding, and he will understand knowledge. He that wasteth his father and chaseth away his mother is a son that causeth shame.
I like that. Verse 25. Smite a scorner, and the simple will beware.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, to the simple, the ones who aren't wise, you whack them. And then they beware.
And the people that are watching it, the simple, they're, okay, I'm not going to be a scorner. I learned from watching this.
But then it says, and reprove one that hath understanding, and he will understand knowledge. And it's the same way I try to take care of my kids. When they simply just need to understand, no, bad, I whack them. You spank them. You do the according punishment. But as they get older and as they need to understand, then you explain stuff to them. And there are times I take my 2-year-old and I say, hey, it was wrong because X, Y, Z. And there are other times I whack them because sometimes it is more important that they understand to obey me, simply as that. And it's other times it's not about whether they obeyed me or not. It's that they need to understand what they just did. So where they do understand, I try to explain to them. And where they can't understand, I whack them. And the simple beware.
There you go. All right. Shall we continue?
Go ahead.
Okay. And reprove one that hath understanding, and he will understand knowledge.
Verse 26.
26. Yes. He that wasteth his father and chaseth away his mother is a son that causeth shame and bringeth reproach. And we've seen this verse in different forms already up to this point. Cease, my son, to hear the instruction that causeth to err from the words of knowledge. An ungodly witness scorneth judgment, and the mouth of the wicked devoureth iniquity. And we've also seen that one repeated several times. Judgments are prepared for scorners, and stripes for the back of fools. Okay, and that concludes verse 19 of Proverbs. Chapter 19. Any more discussion, or do you want to start on 20, Jeremiah?
I was reading that last verse because I don't know if the audience is hearing you break up, but I'm noticing you break up quite a bit.
Oh, really? I'm breaking up?
To me, at least, yes.
Yeah, I won't know until I go back and watch it on YouTube. That's what I like to do, that to see how well the audio turned out to be.
So judgment are prepared for scorners, and stripes for the back of the fools. So basically, it's just saying if you're an idiot, you get what's coming for you. Judgment is prepared for the scorners. Pretty simple stuff right there. Let's move on to the next verse. We're going to hit Proverbs chapter 20.
Big 2-0.
Huh?
You're reading.
Sure.
Okay.
We can tag team.
What?
We can tag team.
Oh.
Tag, you're it. Tag, I'm it.
Okay, you can read. Okay.
By the way, the acronym for tag is touch and go.
Oh.
So apparently, I was 22 when I figured that out, and one day older, and here I am telling you guys. But yeah,
I was
that's what
wondering if
tag
that's
team.
why verse 22 there meant so much to you because you're 22. I don't know.
Verse? Never mind.
The desire of a man is this kind of. Anyway, go ahead.
Wine is a mocker. Strong drink is raging. And whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. Ooh, I need to use that verse whenever somebody tries to argue with me about, wine or alcohol or, wine's okay, but beer's not or something. Wine is a mocker. It mocks you. When you become unsober, you end up mocking yourself.
Oh yeah.
And strong drink is a rage. So it does both here. It covers wine. It covers strong drink. It mentions it both right here in Proverbs. And if you are deceived by this, right there, let me pull it up. Hold on. I need to share this with you. And I've never been too strong against, the whole wine thing. Like if you drink wine, I'm not going to hate on you or something. But I just want to point this out for all those who like arguing on it. First verse right here. And whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. I'm going to highlight that in green because I like green. Okay, green right there. If you ever want to refer back to it while I'm here, right there. The Bible talking against wine and strong drink. It talks against wine. So to all those who are like, wine's good for you, you are not wise. Right there. End of story. Wash my hands. Bible says you're not wise. Wine is a mocker. Okay. I just wanted to have my little.
Don't worry about what Paul said to Timothy. Yeah, don't worry about that. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What are you saying? Paul said to Timothy what?
I think it said something about wine was good for his stomach or something like that.
A little bit of wine is good for the
stomach.
Yes, I do believe you said that. Now, here's the thing. So first, and I believe everybody who ever had a strong opinion on either side knows what I'm about to say, wine was used for several different things. Wine was used to make you drunk. Wine was also used to be another word for grape juice. Now, here's the thing. If you Google, is wine good for your stomach? You'll find several articles, but actually quite a few of them say no, it's horrible for your gut health. Throwing all that bacteria and everything into your gut health is horrible. However, grape juice and several other juices are really good for gut health. I'm actually curious. If I type the first thing into Google, because I'm not afraid of knowing the truth or whatnot, if I just type into Google, is wine good for you? While some studies suggest potential benefits from moderate wine, so first, moderate consumption, particularly red wine, is not a healthy food and should be approached with caution. That's the first article right there. I can pull it up to you. Stop screen sharing. Start screen sharing. Is wine healthy for you? Right there. Boom. Right there in the AI overview. And there are lots of others. I'm not going to go and look through all of it. But right there, it says, particularly not generally considered to be a good idea. So, yeah, there you go. But if I type in, is juice
I believe that we're going
juice
down
part of a healthy diet.
hole.
So I'm going to leave it there because you mentioned it, so I got to talk about it. I know it's a little bit of a rabbit trail, but we got to talk about it.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave it there. But verse right here, unless you want to say the Bible's contradicting itself, wine is a mocker. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay, sounds good to me, bud.
Okay. Anybody who knows me knows if you accuse me of something, I come to the defense pretty quickly. Okay. Verse 2. The fear of a king is as a roaring of a lion. The fear of a king. Wait. Didn't we just read a similar verse that said the wrath of a king was as a roaring lion?
Mm, something like that. I can't remember exactly where it was though.
I swear I saw, I think it was just in the previous chapter, maybe 7 says something for us, but I thought I saw the wrath of a king is like a roaring lion. Now it's saying the fear of a king is as the roaring of a lion. Whosoever provoketh him to anger sinneth against his own soul. You do not want to provoke a king who's afraid to anger. You will kill yourself. So he sins against his own soul. It is an honor for a man to cease from strife, but every fool will be meddling. Fools meddle with strife. Wise people stop strife. The sluggard, I don't know why I saw a C there. The sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold. Therefore shall he beg in harvest and have nothing. Counsel is the heart of a man. The heart of man is like deep water, but of a man of understanding will draw it out. So an understanding man will draw out the water from someone who gives counsel. Most men will proclaim everyone his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find? The just man walketh in his integrity. Sorry. His children are blessed after him. A king that sitteth in the throne of judgment scattereth away all evil with his eyes. So evil, iniquity, the unwise will be scattered away by a king who judges.
Where
Who
we
can
at?
say? No, go ahead.
Verse 9. Okay, I see where we are. I was making sure I kind of lost track.
You're overexposed when you come too close to the camera, Ryan. I can't see your face. Back up. Let me see your
I
face.
get some more drink. I'm still rehydrating from earlier.
You're fine. Who can say, I have made my heart clean? I am pure from my sin. Diverse weights and diverse measures, most of them are alike, abominations to the Lord. Even a child is known by his doings, whether his work be pure and whether it be right. The hearing ear and the seeing eye, the Lord hath made even both of them. Love not sleep, lest thou come to poverty. Open thine eyes, and thou shalt be satisfied with bread. It is not, it is not, saith the buyer. But when he is gone his way, then he boasteth. There is gold and a multitude of rubies, but the lips of knowledge are a precious jewel. Take his garment that is surely for a stranger, and take a pledge of him for a strange woman. Bread of deceit is sweet to a man, but afterward his mouth shall be filled with gravel.
Not sure exactly what that means.
So bread of deceit, so taking something in that is of deceit, is sweet of a man. Generally referring to the idea of somebody lies to you, and you consume that, and that you feel good about it. But when you come to awareness, but afterwards his mouth shall be filled with gravel, it's referring to once you find out the truth, it's going to hurt. It's going to be uncomfortable. At least that's what I take from it. Every purpose is established by counsel, and with good advice make war. He that goeth about as a terror
Talebearer.
talebearer
Yeah, talebearer.
revealeth secrets. Therefore, meddle not with him that flattereth with his lips.
Yeah, that's a
Whoso,
lot of,
go ahead.
sorry, I was just going to say that to me, that's talking about gossip. Or you tell something to someone in confidence and they go repeat it to someone else. Meddle not with him that flattereth his with his lips. So they're saying all kinds of good things to you, to butter you up. But what I get from that is, on the inside, he really is a different person, or
Yeah.
he's just trying to flatter you, and but it's with selfish intent.
Well, it's not that on the inside he's a selfish person, but it's just it's not going to bring any good, so don't hang out with him.
Right, right. Uh-huh.
Who curseth his father or his mother, his lamp shall be put out in obscure darkness. An inheritance may be gotten hastily at the beginning, but the end thereof shall not be blessed. Oh, which reminds me of the prodigal son, the kid who wants his inheritance really quickly. Everybody
Yeah.
knows that story.
Oh
Say
yeah.
not, say not thou, I will recompense evil, but wait on the Lord, and he shall save thee. So don't fix the evil, just wait upon the Lord, and he will save you. Diverse weights are an abomination unto the Lord. That's the second time in this chapter. And
Mm-hmm.
a false balance is not good. I did want to get back to that. So a diverse weight. So false weights, false balance, basically saying cheating,
Mm-hmm.
lying about something and then charging the wrong price for it.
Right.
That's an abomination to the Lord. Just like lying is an abomination. Diverse weights that aren't true.
But going back to verse 21, it's very interesting. I never knew that there was a connection between, I mean, that really does look like it's laying the groundwork for the prodigal son, which it's a parable that Jesus told, 1,000 years later?
Not exactly sure exactly where the timeline comes.
Something like that. I know
Let me see.
David was about 1,000 years before Jesus, from what I understand. But anyway, and Solomon came right after David. So that's interesting, though. For Jesus to expand upon that and make a story out of a verse that the Jews would have known. They would have known Proverbs 20.
Okay, so verse 24.
Yeah.
Man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? So if your way is of the Lord, how can you understand it? He points out you cannot understand your path if you follow God's plan.
Mm-hmm.
It is a snare to the man who devoureth that which is holy, and after vows to make enquiry. A wise king scattereth the wicked, and bringeth the wheel over them. The spirit of man is the candle of the Lord, searching all the inward parts of the belly. Mercy and truth preserve the king, and his thorn is upholden by mercy. The glory of the young men is their strength, and the beauty of the old men is the gray head. The blueness of the wounds cleanseth away evil. So do stripes the inward part of the belly. I'm not exactly sure what that last verse means. The blueness of the
Blueness
wound.
of a wound cleanseth away evil. Yeah, sometimes I read these and I struggle to understand what it's saying.
Blueness reminds me of a bruise. I'm looking at my own bruise and I see discoloration. It's not blue at the moment, but earlier I had quite a bit of blue in the bruise, like black and blue kind of bruise.
Oh, yeah.
The blueness of the wound cleanses away evil. So do stripes in the inward part of this belly. I guess it's just talking about the immune system, different parts of the immune system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not even I'm not going to look it up.
Like
at the moment.
sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I'm tempted to have a modern translation beside the King James just so I can come, okay, what does it mean, balloon? What does this version say? Not that I would, not that I would put it above the King James, but just so that I understand what the King James is saying a little better. You know what I mean? Because even my own.
What does the blueness of a wound mean when referring to biblical text?
Or you could do it that way, Jeremiah. See, you use AI way more than I do.
Hebrew word kabiri, or more accurately, in some biblical translations, a livid or purplish discoloration is described. In Exodus 21, 24 to 25, and Leviticus 24, 19 to 20.
What about the stripes in the stomach?
You're likely referring to stripes or marks on the stomach in a biblical context. In Psalm 38, 7, there's a mention of loins being full of burning, and in verse 8, it talks about loins being full of inflammation.
What about in Proverbs chapter 20?
Proverbs chapter 20 offers various insights into wisdom, behavior, and morality.
Hold on.
If you're looking, take your time.
Okay, so what verse? The last verse? Proverbs chapter 30. What does that mean in the King James Version?
Proverbs chapter 30 is attributed to Agur, son of Jakeh. Without knowing the specific verse, it's a bit challenging to
okay, hold on. I'm sorry, Proverbs chapter 20, verse 30.
There is no Proverbs chapter 20, verse 30 in the King James Version or most other translations of the Bible. Proverbs chapter 20 only has 30 verses, and they go from 1 to 30. But verse 30 doesn't exist as a separate entity in the context of looking for a specific well-known verse. However, Proverbs...
I don't know what on earth he's getting at. I'm going to try asking again. Can you read Proverbs chapter 20, verse 30 to me?
Proverbs chapter 20, verse 30 doesn't exist as a separate verse in the sense that Proverbs 20 only goes up to verse 30, and it's the final verse of the chapter. The final verse of Proverbs 20 in the King James Version is indeed Proverbs 20:30, and it says, "The blueness of a wound cleanseth away evil, and stripes cleanse away the heart," or in some translations, the inward parts. This verse is somewhat cryptic and open to interpretation, but it might suggest that physical suffering or discipline can have a purifying effect on one's inner being or character.
I am curious to why it tells me it doesn't exist. Right here.
May I read from the book?
Not yet. Not yet.
All right.
Look right there. Look at it right there. Verse 30 exists. Now, not separately, I guess, but like still, it's right there. It's right here. I just. So, are you pulling up the New King James Version?
This is a version of the Bible called the Book. It was sold by, I believe it was sold by the Christian by Tyndale House Publishers. I believe it's a version of the Living Bible. Let's see. It's a special edition of the Living Bible published by, I just remember the 700.
No, I don't want that one. We're not going to put that on the channel. Get that out of here.
But it says punishment that hurts.
No. Get that out of here. I said get it out of here. I'm not having that.
All right. Well, then we'll just leave things as
the Living Bible. I've not heard much of it, but everything I have heard about it's crap. I don't want that on this channel. So no, get that out of here.
It didn't really say a whole lot anyway. It didn't really clarify much.
Well, so it mentioned something about, like self-discipline. Let me see. So understanding that might be referring to self-discipline. Let's look at it. The blueness of the wound cleanseth away evil. So do stripes, the inward parts of the belly. So I don't think, as far as the inward parts, I don't think that's something you can see. I think that's, I don't know, something more medical.
Hey, I just want to talk to Smith real quick.
I'm sorry, what?
I just want to talk to Smith real quick. Hey, Smith, thank you for
you interrupt.
Joining. We're just doing a Bible study where we normally do about 3 Proverbs per night right now. So if you're off in an hour, we should be long gone by then. We're we're about done now. But if you want to, it says my research will blow your minds, and it is related. If you can maybe come in, try again next Sunday night, and tell us a little bit more about your research you're mentioning there. We would love to have. We'd love to have you next Sunday night, Smith. But we're about done for tonight.
Yeah, we were about done tonight, but I do like what you have to say. Let me see what I got here. Because I don't have anybody's number or any way of contacting people, which sucks. And you said you can't come on. Man, I always like it when people love to interact.
Oh yeah. Sevens. Sevens. If you wanted to interact more tonight, that would have been fine. Was it last week or the week before where you really did a lot of interacting?
It was last week. Both the week before and last week.
Yeah.
Smith, the best I can say to you is we run our show around 7:30 on Mondays. Best thing I can say is either show up on Sunday, and we can talk about it then, because we do a recap on the entire week on Sunday, just hanging out. And it lasts several hours into the night. Or we might have you as a special guest if you're able to come on early. Just let us know, and then we could link and try to get you in.
Yeah. But Smith, go back and watch if you'd like, and comment if you have a comment, because we do desire people to comment on the video after it's been posted. That increases our views. It increases, because I've noticed that the Bible studies don't seem to get as many views, and that's sad, but it's understandable. People would rather just hear people.
Well, it's also surface level. This Bible study is designed to be surface level. It's designed to get you interested in the idea of Bible studies. So it's a weird niche. It is a weird niche for this type of Bible study. So I don't blame it. Anyway, with that, we're going to leave it. Thank you, everybody, for joining and everything. Smith, thank you for what you had to do, what you're having to do in the comments right now. If you want to comment a few Bible verses once this wraps up, so that we're able to look at them once we finish everything, that'd be awesome. But we're gonna wrap it up now. So say goodbye to everybody in the chat.
Yes.